We're Jordan and Rachel. In 2019, we completed a vintage camper renovation on a camper that had been in our family since 1965 when it was brand new. After that, we started part-time traveling around the country, seeing everything we could see from our little vintage camper. This particular video is some place that's really close to home for us and a place we've been to a few times. It is a campground at the Salamonie Lake, which is a reservoir in central Indiana. It's about an hour south of Fort Wayne. So we're going to take you on a driving tour through the Salamonie Lake Campground, which is Lost Bridge West SRA, State Recreation Area. So thanks for being here. So we're going to start right here at the main gate and entrance to the campground. The campground is actually in proximity, very close to the beach area, which is really nice if you have kiddos or if you really like water sports. There is a boat ramp also close by, so if you are a boater, you can launch close to the campground and keep your trailer parked close to the campground. Some people, even with smaller boats, will keep their boat at their campsite. Some of the campsites are large enough to accommodate that. It's a little bit tough when some people are doing that, like just navigating around, but yeah, so this is the one dump station. It's basically right there as you're first coming in, and we're going to drive all the way back to the very back of the campground, which has a couple of loops that are actually waterfront. And when we say waterfront, like they really are right there on the water. I know because I've seen from the water itself, you can see people sitting out in their lawn chairs, like right next to the water. I'm not sure that there is swimming access from that loop, but would be something to check out if you were there. However, the beach is really close by, so there are 2 walking trails to the beach from the campground that make it pretty easily accessible if you're somebody who would probably spend a great deal of time at the beach. This particular video was filmed in early October in central Indiana. It's not normally this warm or this green at that time of year, but it was really nice. I would recommend checking it out in the summer and in the fall because fall camping is amazing, but I will say that if you are a boater at this time of year, they have already started to lower the water levels because it is a reservoir. So in winter months, they usually do drop the water levels down quite a bit for a winter pool. The marina at that point also closes, so there are some of the amenities that are typically available during summer months were not available then. So we've actually stayed back here in this corner to the left, which was really nice. It was a small space, but we had a lot of privacy, which you'll notice a lot of the spaces have trees either on one side or the other. This is like kind of the main cluster of campsites right here where you can kind of buddy site with somebody behind you. So that's the nice part. If you're going with someone else, like this would be the area you might want to check out. There are 4 bathhouses available throughout the campground, but there are a couple of sections that have no bathhouse and no flushing toilet. They do have a pit toilet, so if you are not fully self-contained, you want to probably stick to those other locations. The pit toilet areas are the ones that have 50 amp hookups, I believe, and those are the ones that are actually much closer to the water. So just keep that in mind if you need access to the bathhouse. So the lake, Salamonie Lake, is a reservoir, like I mentioned. It is it's quite big. It has over 2,600 acres just on the water alone, and then over 12,000 land acres. Winter camping is also available here, but I think it has limited access to water and the bathhouse. But in the winter, they do have snowmobile trails and cross-country skiing trails available. But in the summer, the hiking is really nice. There are trails that go along the water's edge, and there's kind of a really popular trail called the Blood Route Trail, which is a really fun mountain biking trail. So you can hike or bike that trail. And then you have all your basic water sports, so skiing, boating, kayaking, fishing. There are also along the beach area horseshoe pits, volleyball courts, basketball courts. So you can do all kinds of things here. There's also a horseman's campground nearby, so you can ride your horse on some of the trails in this area. Something else I wanted to mention was that you can make shelter reservations and reserve some of the shelters for picnicking. You can also visit the nature center, which has classes and animals there to interact with and lots of things to see and do. So I highly recommend you check that out. There are 2 playgrounds in the campground, one in that main cluster of campsites where I said it would be good for buddy camping, and then there's also a playground or a little bit of playground equipment in the loop we stayed in right next to the bathhouse. So if you've got kiddos, this is a great campground for you. As we cross this road, we are going to be in the next section. Yep. This is the loop we stayed in. So this loop has actually a playground in it and a really nice bathhouse in the center, and it's pretty easily accessible to everybody in the loop. It's at the very front of the campground as well, so it's pretty easy to get in and out. The one thing is that I would mention is there are not very many trailheads that are close to the campground, so you do have to hop in your car and drive to the trailhead unless you want a long walk. So these are the bathrooms that are closest to where we stayed in our campsite. I was honestly impressed with the state of the restrooms and the shower houses. They were all really clean and well kept, and they weren't super busy or overcrowded even in a full loop on a weekend. So I felt like this is a great place to go if you're not all self-contained in your rig. So if you're a tent camper or you're like us and you don't have a shower or toilet, this would be a great option for you. So thank you for coming along today on our driving tour of the Salamonie. We hope you come back for our day in the life video where Jordan and I are working remotely from the campsite. We'll see you on the next one.